one of the exceptional careers who makes it to the top. I think you are a great example as an inspiration.
I'm an example of that commonest of common man with no special talent, with no special gift, with no godfather in life. And I thought, who is Sandeep Dandekar, commonest of common unknown face? Who will read my book and for why?
What was your learning experience over there?
It was a hell of an effort. I have slept on railway platforms with no money in my pocket. I slept in trains with a pass, Mumbai-Pune pass that time I used to have. तो मैं रात को एक विंडो सीट लोकल में पकड़ता था. I would sleep. The train would go into yards. वो वहीं पे रात में ट्रेन में ही सोता था. सुबह आके I mean, some things I can't even say on podcast.
So welcome to a brand new episode, and this is a very special episode. Let me highlight one thing. There are personalities whom you meet and you get to learn something from them. But then there are personalities whom you realize that they are a big wealth of knowledge, and not just knowledge, experience. I've met Sandeep sir almost half an hour ago, and based on whatever conversation we have, this is one source of knowledge or one thing I'm realizing over time, that when you need a mentor, not just for your career, but for your life, but in terms of approach what you should have towards life, towards career, I think Sandeep sir is the perfect person to guide you. First of all, thank you Sandeep sir for joining us for the podcast.
Pleasure and honor.
Based on the conversation we are having, it feels like I should keep on listening to you.
That's kind of you.
For a longer period. So grab your coffee, grab a nice cozy chair, and enjoy a very nice conversation that will talk about life, career, and everything beyond this that will help you. One more thing to highlight before we get started. See, today we are going to cover a complete life cycle of a career. Life cycle in the sense, right from the education we start till the career we're built up with different companies, with different corporates, till the time we hit the retirement age, and now how the new innings starts. Instead of calling it retirement, can we call it something else? We'll find out in this episode. So again, Sandeep sir, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Now, I know you personally. Niranjan, helped me know more about you. But for our viewers' reference, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. So I don't know how should I introduce myself, but I believe I'm a very ordinary common man. I possess no great skills, no great talent. I'm a perfect example of how a very common man, if he starts owning things, if he starts not giving up things, and kind of gets the best balance of how to listen to your gut, how to use data, how to analyze, how to use technology, and still keep intact with your connection with universe, that possibly is a formula of success and peace, larger success, not just professionally, but overall in life. I think I'm an example of that commonest of common man with no special talent, with no special gift, with no godfather in life, also can do reasonably good in life.
So I think you're just being humble. But as far as I've seen multiple careers, I've been part of this career building process for some time now. But one of the exceptional careers who makes it to the top, I think you are a great example as an inspiration. But one thing, going back to the day I started, research around your journey, first thing I observed was the corporate monk.
Right.
So my first question for the day is, what's the story behind this? Why the corporate monk?
I think this name is a mix of credit goes to many people. Nobody coined that phrase as such, nor did I take that name myself. It evolved. For last at least 1.5 decades, some people have been calling me half Buddha, some people call me Buddha of 21st century, some guys call me Vivekananda, and then somebody, one of the persons that I follow to understand how to maintain or how to possibly enhance your connection with universe, with God, with creator, while you're pursuing all your material needs. I follow somebody. So he called me business monk, and others used to call me all that. So, and in the meantime, what happened? this has also a connection about my writing books. I've been writing content for very, very long time. I never thought that it is a book material now, or I'm an author material. Many people used to come and tell me that you write well, we like what you write, it resonates with us. Some guys said, I start my day reading what you write. Some people said, I don't end my day until I read what you write. You should write a book. So, but I used to think they are being nice. They are just being nice. Doesn't mean I should consider that I'm an author material. And I never, मैंने सोचा, who is Sandeep Dandekar, commonest of common unknown face, billions of people in the world, I'm one of them. Who will read my book and for why? So I never took initiative. Some of these guys used to come back and tell me, with that affectionate kind of anger that you have, हक से जैसे गुस्सा बोलते हैं, कि why are you still not writing? How many times I told you? And then what happened, certain things, very, very profound experiences came, which were next level, much more than that. And then I thought, this is coming to me now as a duty, as a message of duty. I use a metaphor. Suppose वो थोड़ा पुराने ज़माने का हूँ तो पुराने ज़माने का example है. Now with Zepto and all that, lives have changed. But suppose suddenly you have some guest and mom knows that within next 15 minutes, some guests are coming. She realizes there is no enough milk. She wants to prepare coffee. तो बच्चे को जल्दी से 100 रुपये देती है, बोलती है जाओ जल्दी से दूध लेके आओ. तो बच्चा 100 रुपये लेके जाता है, भूल जाता है, नीचे जाके फ्रेंड्स मिल जाते हैं, 2 घंटे क्रिकेट फुटबॉल को चलता है, फिर वो 100 रुपये का चॉकलेट खाता है और 3-4 घंटे के बाद घर आता है. What do you think the mom will do? So I thought, if I am given skills of writing, I didn't realize the worth of it. Then came people who kept on saying that you write well, you please write a book. Still, I thought, I still gave myself a benefit of doubt that yes, I had a reason to believe that who will read my books. But now the next level of experiences are coming. And those were really goosebump experiences for myself. And people said that this happened because of you. This happened because of what you spoke with us. Then I said, boss, it should not happen that when I meet God one day, He will say, look, I told you for some reason. I sent you for some reason. I gave you the skills. I sent you people sending a message. And you came back without doing that job. Like that boy who came back without milk, right?
Before we dive into your overall career journey, you are someone who has a complete view. Someone who starts right after graduation all the way till being a India head or part of senior management of a company. So in this complete view or career of more than 35, almost 37 years, what are 3 parameters or 3 pillars you would highlight? Ideally, a person, let's say I'm starting my career of 6-7 years into the career. So what are 3 things I should be concerned about, focused on to achieve in my career? It could be monetary, it could be non-monetary. But what are 3 top priorities which one should focus on in their career or in this span of graduation se leke, let's call it retirement or your overall career?
Okay. So you are saying 3 things from the point of view that they will help you grow in your profession, as well as will make you feel more complete as a human being.
Yes.
I think first is take ownership. Take ownership, take ownership, take ownership, take ownership. That's first. May what be. Okay. You may have hundreds of things that you will be tempted to blame on, thousands of people, situations that you can take shelter of, but difference is who takes ownership, I think. The second is have empathy. Whatever it is, we are a human. We are all in the world where we are doing everything with the help of humans. So you have to have empathy. And under the empathy, a lot of leadership skills fall under one word, which means if you have to motivate your people, you have to look at their interests, you have to keep their interest on. It all comes from empathy, because that's how you connect, you understand what's happening with them, because everybody has different triggers, different streams that it can create motivation. But that comes from your empathy, because that is how you start reading, understanding people, their rhythm, their vibration. Every individual is different. Right? And the third most important thing is a very, very positive and growth mindset kind of outlook. You will have hundreds of situations and tens of things, hundreds of reasons always why you will become pessimistic. You will look at the darker side. We hear many times whatever happens for good. I don't believe in that. I believe whatever happens, you have to find good in it. Because not essentially whatever happens for good. If I may add just fourth thing, you asked for three, but
Yes.
fourth is, I believe, create dots and spread them in the universe. Do not worry, and that's where our spirituality comes. Karmanya vadhikaraste, you do your karma and do so much karma that you create dots and spread. Don't worry essentially कि ये dot से मुझे क्या मिलेगा? Am I getting my returns? Create dots, because when those dots will connect and look back, you will realize what happened. It is incredible. I have often seen that when some things were happening, I didn't understand why they were happening. Many times they were not music to my ears. They were not pleasure to my senses. Right? There was a lot of struggle. Apparently, I was being dragged by life, but I kept on going. I kept on creating dots, and incredibly, when you look back, unbelievably the dots connect. So the more the dots you connect, the more you allow the probability to connect, for them to build up something. So these are four things according to me.
So, takes me back to one of the speeches I heard, that you can only connect dots looking backward, not forward. So always good to create such possibilities.
Yes.
Where we can go ahead and connect them. Great. So this brings me to my favorite part of the podcast now, decoding your overall step-by-step career journey. So as I understand, somewhere around 1989, you completed your engineering from Pune University. So first decision of picking engineering, because I'll tell you my context in this. There are a lot of 12th pass students who come to me and say that, sir, we want to pick a career, we want to choose a career, but we are clueless. And I said, whatever you like, whatever your passion is, follow that. But the next question is, sir, how to find our passion?
Yeah.
We were in school till 10th, now we have done our 12th, and the only exposure we got was, chalo, plus 2 mein we connected with some folks, maybe some seniors, but that's it. Now, students feel this anxiety or pressure of making a life decision without having much exposure. So at this point, in your case, what was your story and anything that you would advise if someone comes to you at this stage and ask for some advice?
Right. So first thing is, during my time, going back to the 80s and early 90s, there were not too many options like you have today. And that was good thing and bad thing, both. Like I say, everything has good and bad. What was good in it? Choices were easy. You were not getting confused. The more choices you have, the more options that you have, the difficult becomes decision making, and there is a fear of missing out. Because when you have to decide on something, you have to leave the other dots, right? Other streams.
Yes.
So there is a fear, but will this work out better for me? Should I leave it? There is a fear of losing something, missing something.
Yes.
And I've seen the more options you have, more hesitation and decision making also, right? So good thing for us is decision making was simple. You either go to commerce stream where you become BCom, MCom, CA, CS, ICWA, or law, which was really not one of the prominent options at that time. Second was medical, and third was engineering. So what resonated with me, if at all I had to do only one out of these 3 or 4, then my connection was more with engineering. And that is what I thought I could deal with. So it was a very simple decision according to me. But the journey was not easy, because again comes back to that ownership. For whatever reasons, I can find 10 different things to shelter under, but I underperformed during very, very crucial period of my student life, academics. And that took toll. That took toll on which college I got, how I got admission. And I had restlessness, and first time very strong awareness came to me that it is me who underperformed. It is me who, for whatever reasons, did not live up to my potential. And therefore, the economics of families that time used to be very different than today. The earnings, the expenditure, the saving potential was all different. So for my father's earning, the fees of larger colleges was unpalatable, and I couldn't take it that I'm going to bring that in life, right? So that actually was a reason of what I did further and how I did. But this situation, I think early failure also helped me. This debacle that I did of my own self, that I underperformed, I did not fire my engines, then I suffered because of that. The early realization of ownership, that tough call of, biting that bullet, biting that tough pill and saying that no, I take up that battle. I will make good of what I lost. Doesn't mean my father has to bend backwards and pay and make up for what I could not. I think that made one of the strongest parts of my professional character further.
Okay, that's interesting. So, so coming down to, let's say you picked up engineering and you got that realization that, okay, I've underperformed, but eventually you made it to Thermax.
Correct.
So again, did you have any other plans for your career, or was it just be open for opportunities and then make the most out of it?
While you asked about career choice, not off the table was NDA.
Okay.
Possibly pursuing cricket, which was my passion. I was somewhat decently good. But then again, during those times, it was difficult to continue. I mean, for some reasons, I had to stick on to engineering and leave the rest of the two. But those interests never died. So I still have a soldier in me which did not wear uniform. I think like a soldier, I behave like a soldier many times. And I think it is good because that brings you a lot of erect character. If you look at the guys who are in civil life who have served the forces and people who have been civilians, you can clearly make out the difference because of what they have undergone. And that is what molds the mind, So I made a conscious effort to stay amidst a lot of people who were serving the forces. I still have hundreds of people today who served the forces and are out, and they call me civilian by accident. I also did cricket coaching out of my hobby later. So that became hobby, what could not become profession later.
So when you went ahead with Thermax, was it part of your plan? I think that we got as an answer that you're a bit more inclined towards cricket and then
Correct.
Going for defenses. But when Thermax came up, then what was your, let's say, approach towards career ahead?
Right.
Was it making most out of Thermax, growing
Yes.
up the ladder, or what further led to, what were your experiences
Right.
with Thermax and further?
So I was very, very happy and very satisfied of myself first time after a very, very long time when I got a confirmation of selection from Thermax, because it was redemption of my kind of self-driven second rise, I would say, second birth, after the realization that I underperformed, and therefore I had to take that ownership, bend backwards and recover that ground which I lost, which I did. When I got into Thermax, possibly I recovered all the deficit that was built. So I was very satisfied. At that time, my only passion, thought, goal was to rise in the corporate ladder, to get as much exposure as possible, to get better titles, get better responsibilities as early as possible. So we were put through training modules. I was put on manufacturing, and until then, it was always my belief that a mecca of mechanical engineer is on a shop floor. And when I landed on shop floor for a 4-month module, I thought, wow, this is life, I had arrived. Then only within 8 or 10 days, maybe 15 days, I realized what is business, what is engineering, and what is business. So Thermax is a company, and company is a business. So you have engineering, you have money. And that is, then I realized that if I have to grow, I must understand money, I must understand business, I must understand corporate compliances, regulations, then you can become a leader. I'm only at first step of a big staircase. And then I thought, if I go early to a techno-commercial field which consolidates my technical knowledge, but also starts giving me exposure towards techno-commercials, that will help me grow. And therefore, I took a lot of effort to get into supply chain procurement side, and that shifted the gears, because the exposure, the window becomes so larger than a manufacturing. Of course, there's nothing wrong in manufacturing. You get different kind of exposure. The character that is made of people who are on shop floor is different, with a lot of strengths on that. So nothing to demean that. But that possibly was not me. I wanted to have much wider exposure, more leadership, more window to the world, right? And that I think, and later I realized that I don't want to even remain only a procurement or a supply chain constrained guy, because when you go to floor one, then you realize there is another floor, then you realize another floor, then you realize there is a terrace, then there is another building which is taller than your building, right? So then I realized that you have to have the whole span of exposure, which means you need to understand business, sales, marketing, strategy, finance, taxation, compliance, all that. So I took actually these exposures by a lot of effort, and that helped me grow and reach possibly where I am.
Now going back to one term that you mentioned, techno-commercial. Now I have some background, I've worked with an IT company, so I can understand that part. But for our viewers, for simplified understanding, would you like to define or simplify techno-commercial as a term?
Yes. So there is commercial in every technology, every technical thing. And it is important, as early as we understand as engineers, it is going to make you ready for the best part of your profession. Because unless you are an R&D guy, even there to an extent less so, but there is still commercials involved. If you do a research which is not applicable, which is not deployable anywhere, what is the use of that? Because ultimately it has to dovetail into some business model. If let's say you talk to any design head, let's say you are in automobile, you are designing a car, you are not designing to get PhD in design. You are designing to make a product that you will be able to bring to market, with which you will be able to beat the competition. You will do better than competition's comparable product, where you will get market share, you will grow, you will give dividends to your shareholders, right? That is why are you designing a new car? For all this. So if the designing person does not understand this process, the purpose, what will win, what will not win, you don't become that effective. So I think for all the engineers, it is very important to understand that engineering alone becomes very academic unless it is applied and thought from a business, from money, from profit, loss, all those perspectives.
Okay, that's a nice angle. But anyways, coming back to the story. So we started with Thermax. You explored the phase of what is shop floor, and then I think you got taste of how the levels look ahead. Now taking up next step, I think somewhere around 92 you shifted your career trajectory to MBA.
Right.
So over here, how MBA came into picture, or what were your expectations set out of an MBA? Plus, did you continue working during your MBA, and how did you balance it?
Right. So MBA was again part of a same realization and my journey where I was taking steps. So one is I was thinking, observing, connecting dots, trying to make a picture out of it, so that I could get idea about because those times were different. Those were analog days. You did not have Google, you did not have AI, you did not have all the information sources so easy. So who would guide you about what are you supposed to do? You only had to think, maybe talk to 5-10 different people, read a lot, observe. So I realized that if I'm talking about growing my exposure, growing my techno-commercial understanding of a business, and that's how you move to the apex of any organization, of any business, then I think I need to augment my technical knowledge, technical degree with MBA. Because that helps you understand money, profit, loss, strategy, marketing, branding, all that. So that is why I took MBA. It was part-time, but still my organization gave me a few concessions to be able to attend the class. The course was very, very innovatively built. It was exactly the same credentials, everything same. Exams were common. So during the exam, we were together, the full-time guys and us. It was the course which, so to that extent, it was same. So they were compressed vacations, long classes on Saturdays, and about 3 hours every evening. That is how the course was packed, and it was same content, same credentials, same exam, like full time. I don't see so many experiments happening nowadays. That innovation, I mean, those days honestly were days of constraints, those days of shortages. Today there is a lot of exposure, a lot of funding, there is a lot of ease of tech, tools, right? Most of the academies I see have become autonomous, And if you ask them, why do you become autonomous? They say, no, we want to move with time. We want to be agile. We want to modernize our curriculum. But I don't see that happening. That was only happening actually when there were constraints.
Yes.
So that is how MBA was. I completed my first year. Now the same journey that I want to know more. I realized back then, today at least, you see your exposure while you're in India and maybe you go overseas. The delta is much lesser because we are quite in line with the world. The world has become small now, one place with all these things, right? But back then, the world was isolation. India and overseas was a big delta. And I started getting a sense as I was reading, I was interacting. Some of my vendors were overseas. I got an opportunity to meet them, interact with them. And then I got sense that the world outside is much different. And I want to have that exposure. I want to stretch my horizons as early as possible. So then I thought I'll take up some project in the Middle East where the scale is much larger, the way of doing things is much different. I fortunately, after a lot of struggle, not fortunately, that's our story for some another day. But I got a job in oil field in Yemen, deep in desert, which 99 out of 100 boys will run away on day one today. It was such kind of tough conditions. But that, again, when I reached there, it opened up my mind. So when I went to Thermax, it opened up my mind. I thought, wow, this is world. When I went to Thermax, I was on shop floor. Then I realized, oh, there is a larger sky. I went to supply chain. Then I realized, oh, but the whole technical, even if I'm in supply chain, the simply knowledge of only technical, background of only engineering again is closing my sky. So MBA. Then after MBA, I realized you go to, outside India, you have a larger sky. And that's how 7 skies kept on opening, one wider after the other. I think that momentum of trying to stretch myself, trying to go to the next level where the sky is bigger. And every journey, when the eagle flies, it's not easy. You think it is easy. It has to trade all those forces, right? We all know that when there is storm, eagle flies through the storm and gets over it, gets above that. But while it is trying to fly through the storm above it, it's not an easy thing. So I think that is what I enjoyed.
Yes, and I think that also builds you over
Yes,
time.
absolutely.
Interesting. Now, I'm so glad that my next question was about, your movement to Yemen. So how did this happen? Means, did you come across a job opening or were you specifically targeting? And what was your learning experience over there?
It was a hell of an effort.
Okay.
Absolutely hell of an effort.
Okay.
And like I said, this could be another podcast by itself, how it happened, what I experienced during those times, the bad times, the lessons that I learned. I have slept on railway platforms with no money in my pocket. I slept in trains with a pass, Mumbai-Pune pass that time I used to have. तो मैं रात को एक विंडो सीट लोकल में पकड़ता था. I would sleep. The train would go into yards. और वहीं पे रात में ट्रेन में ही सोता था. सुबह आके some things I can't even say on podcast, but incredible kind of things. Okay. And then I got that job. So one good thing is every time I rise, I have got hit to the floor and then I've risen. And that's the fun. Life is never only upward curve. It is always up and down. Yes. The difference is what do you do when you're going down? And do you enjoy coming up after you're down? That I think develops your character.
So continuing with our story now. So I've also studied that post your experience in Yemen, you moved to UAE, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
So how did that move happen? And was it within the same domain or was it an upgrade?
Right. So this happened out of my desire to migrate at that time, basically.
Okay.
So I remember I was maybe 26, 27. And again, out of that same thing, better life, better exposure, I wanted to migrate. And then I looked at options. At that time, you had an option of Canada, Australia, maybe taking up a degree and going to the US. So I decided to migrate to Canada. When I met the lawyers, the consultant, We filled up a form. They said you will take approximately 2 to 2.5 years to get your landing there, and within 6 months after that you have to land there. So there was a 2.5 to 3 years of time available. Then I thought, my wife had never been out of India. Her possibly, she is a much simpler soul than me. That way, little crack you can say. So I had a concern that how will she manage that change? She's not at all used to it. Also, I had made some study and knew that your first 1 year of stay after you migrate could be very nasty. You don't have any income. The costs are instantly very high. The minute you go, your costs are in that currency, right?
Yes.
So a lot of families do struggle in the first 1 year. So I thought, I have 2.5 3 years. Why not prepare myself for it? So I started once again pursuing a Middle East 2.5 years fixed contract, because for a fixed contract you get better pay. And my idea was, it gives us an intermediate landing. My wife goes out of India. Dubai is a much easier place for an Indian than Canada. So it's kind of a midway. She gets used to Dubai and then we hop on to Canada. Is a better change management than direct from Pune to somewhere deep in Canada. Second thing is, during those 2.5 years, I could save some amount, which will be a good launch pad for me in Canada to make our first maybe 1 year of struggle a little easier. With that thought, I went. But midway, my wife says, no, we are not migrating. So I had to pull the plug. Okay. Then again, I had to make a decision whether, the whole thing, I was so passionate. I did all this for that. And here his wife says, no, we are not. Now that's a question when you have to handle paradoxes of life. What's more important? This was very, very important. Such a passion, such an important thing. Only for that I did all this. And here wife is saying, no, we're not doing it. In today's time, partnerships break just like that. And such a call, possibly the marriage would not exist. But I had to then take a call. No, marriage, relationship, wife, my commitment to her is any day much more important than this. And I was happy to do that sacrifice. And then, fine, that I treated as a new datum, saying that, okay, I'm not going. Now take the battle from here onwards ahead. Rewrite your plans. And then we rewrote our plans again.
Okay. Now coming back to those rewritten plans. So I think you came back to India then after Middle East tour.
Yes.
After coming back to India, how did you started your career trajectory again? Because there are usually two aspects I see. One, usually professionals come back on their own terms. Okay, I'm done staying out. Now I want to explore more in India. And at times the expectations which are set overseas are not met domestically.
Correct.
So in your case, how did it unfold after coming back to India?
Yeah, I think it was a proactive call. And out of 2-3 things. One is, I had decided not to stay. Given that we were not migrating, then I had to recalibrate my plan, like I said. So it was a revised plan. Then I said, I don't want to stay here for more than 10 years if you are not migrating anyway. Because then during those times, today Dubai has changed the visa regulation, the proximity, a lot of things have changed. So it's a much different place than what it was then. So I said, we are not staying here for more than 10 years. I don't want to retire in Dubai. And then I don't want to be here because I can't go anywhere. So I said, if I have to go back to India, I better go before I cross 40s. That's when I'm also back before my parents start aging really. So I will be closer around. I was also very keen that my sons, I have 2 sons, their important part of their upbringing happens in India than in Dubai. Because it is important for a fish to be used to the river than being born in aquarium fish as aquarium. Because if a fish is born in aquarium, it can never go to the river. But you pick up a fish from river, it can live anywhere. So that strength in character, that ability to handle diversity was, I think, very important for me, that they experience that. India is a real world. So that's how we came back. I started making a lot of efforts. Again, world was different. There were no audio videos and remote interviews. No job was, you could not get job sitting in Dubai, in India easily. So I started making some investments, making trips, consciously spending money. Whenever during those typical friends meets or NRI gatherings, I used to say that I want to go back. People used to ridicule me, laugh at me, saying that, why do you want to go? Nobody goes. लोग बोलते हैं करता कोई नहीं है, but I am a man who says he does, and there has been, you will see things one after the other where people every time said ऐसा कोई करता नहीं, ऐसा किसी से होता नहीं, but if I mean it, I have done it. So and one more thing I was saying, and this is where I say you have to have a vision, and for having vision, you don't need to be Nostradamus. You are a simple common sense man reading the environment, using your gut, you get vision. That is my belief. I was saying for a place like Dubai, for they were heading, and I don't know, I was saying it is maybe a year away, maybe 2 years away, the Dubai is going to fall very badly. And therefore, and at that time, if you remember, around 2006, India was rising. A lot of vibrance was rising in India. So I thought, I used to say to people that if you have to go back to India, today is your time. From two things, India is coming up and Dubai is timed. It is going down for sure, logically. And they used to make fun of me. So that's how, and that is what happened, right? In 2008, Lehman Brothers happened. We all know what happened in Dubai. India also got impacted, but much lesser. And through that effort, I got an offer also of Reliance. I got one of the rarest of rare things to happen that time, that I got an offer in Reliance, and I came back to India with an offer which was as good as the offer that I had back home. And I chose a field. I said Reliance came up with retail at that time, and their plan was very big. So in India, you did not have at that time professionals who had a global exposure. See, this is how I say dots connect. Now it is going back to all my 20 years, what all I did. So they were looking for somebody who has very large scale exposure, comfort with all those challenges, very clear understanding of how large projects pan out, no intimidation for large numbers. And therefore they hired me. And I was saying that they will hire Indians with such exposure for next 2 to 3 years. Because within 2 to 3 years, they will create Indians here. Then they will start hiring locally. They will not need to import somebody from outside. So it was a timed opportunity. And that's exactly how it happened.
Coming back to the Reliance chapter, on the retail end, I'm a bit more curious to understand. So on retail end, what exactly is, that you picked up? And secondly, what exposure led to, let's say, your growth within Reliance, or eventually you changed organization? Right. So on what basis you took that call? Okay, now I'm done learning over here, I need to move ahead.
Some of my changes were not proactive. Let me be honest, I'll confess.
Okay.
Those were forced by situations where I was brought to a point where it did not make sense to continue, or I was also brought to a point where I happened to lose job, right? Reliance was one such thing. Because of Lehman Brothers, there was meltdown. The best of best performers were losing jobs for no fault of them. Their bosses would not know, their bosses would not know who's going to lose job, right? It would just come one day that your name is there, and so it was all happening around. That's how I lost job. So what do you do then? You either go down, you intimidate, I mean, you get under intimidation, you become pessimist. And I have seen many people around me who lost track and they never picked up again. Because that zeal that I'm going to use this to bounce back. Every time you get, it's like a ball. You go down to come up. If you develop that mindset in you, okay, मैं नीचे जा रहा हूँ तो यहाँ से मैं ऊपर उठूंगा, और उतना ऊपर उठूंगा कि the peak before fall will become much lower than where I will reach. That is how I have always looked at every decline. So Reliance में भी जब job loss हुआ, तो I had to do things which took me extremely out of my comfort zone. So I had to accept certain roles where I had no clue how to do it. Imagine you have to perform, you have to deliver results, and you have no clue about it. So one is, you have to be able to impress the people in interview about things that you have not done. And then be able to have the guts in you to deliver in that zone, in that space where you have no clue, right? So I was dragged by life into those kind of out of comfort zones, and I took that challenge. I could have shrugged away, I could have shrunk and said that no, यहाँ नहीं जाना है, ये मुझे नहीं आता है, या तो let me go, let me learn, let me prove myself, and this will also expose one more area to me, right? So that is how, and exactly this is how मेरा horizontal इतना बढ़ते गया because all the time in life kept on bringing to me to do something that I had not done before, and every time I latched onto it. I never shrugged, I never stepped back. I latched onto it. अच्छा ये नहीं किया, ओके मैं करता हूँ, इसमें सीखता हूँ, उसमें स्ट्रेस हुआ, कंफर्ट जोन से बाहर गया, फेल्यूर आया, पीपल कॉल्ड नेम्स, oh he doesn't know. Yes, I don't know. So you have situations where you don't know how to fly a plane, you are a trainee pilot, you have 300 people sitting behind you. They should not feel that pilot doesn't know, plane should not come down, and you have to learn to be able to fly while you are flying. You know, वो situations कितनी बार मेरे ऊपर आई, and I have learned, and that is what makes a character. तो कभी भी मैं सबको बोलता हूँ कि पीछे नहीं हटना है. Every time it is not going to be bed of roses, और bed of roses में भी thorns होते हैं. तो it is always, life is a test, और वो test जो विराट कोहली बनो जिंदगी में ना.
But still coming back to that point, because I got the approach part now, and I understand that you might not be comfortable sharing that episode, but what was that day, or what was that exact moment where you said, okay, I've handled this, maybe I've adapted to the situation, and now is the time, now I have to move ahead from Reliance? Because there was one more question, but I think you have answered it already, that what took you from, let's say, your oil and gas or a different domain, coming back to India and then going towards retail? That got answered. But again, at what point, exact point you said, okay, boss, I'm done, now let me look for the next opportunity?
Honestly, in Reliance, as I told you very, very candidly, it was not me who chose to move out.
Yes.
I don't think I was done with it. I was still enjoying it. I was still learning. I would have liked to continue maybe for some time.
Okay.
But it was because of the Lemon 2008
Crisis.
meltdown and all that. So I ended up losing a boat.
Okay.
I did not hop out. I lost the boat.
Okay. And then how did the next opportunity happen?
So next, it is like I said, it was out of comfort zone. I had to either agree to do something that I didn't know how to do. I agreed. So it was in construction, civil construction, that I had never done.
Okay.
But believe you me, whatever I learned there, and this is again how beautifully dots connect. Last 15 years, what I've been doing, construction is a very substantial part of it. Not 15, I would say 20. Even in Atos, there was a lot of construction that I had to handle. Even in Entity, there was a lot of construction of data centers that I had to handle. And I could not have done it so well if I had not lost the job of Reliance, if I was not forced by life to do what I was not comfortable with, if I had not joined K Rahejas and learned the construction, because otherwise अगर वो नहीं होता तो जिंदगी में कभी भी मैं construction सीखने का तो कोई चांस ही नहीं था. तो and that is what differentiated me in the last 18-20 years, because when I was with Atos and even with Sintel, understanding construction became a very, very differentiated kind of constituent in my success. So this is how, when you do something without resisting, you never know what dividends are going to be paid at what point in time in life. This is exactly what happened.
Okay. That actually answered my next question, that switching domain, because nowadays, one is switching through purposeful act and second is switching by an accident. I think you're a perfect example of switching by an accident, making most out of it.
Correct.
When it comes to next opportunities. And this brings me to the last segment of Atos, Intel, and eventually NTT. So if you would like to decode your role over there and eventually how you cracked the senior management role. Let's say someone who's in middle management right now became a team lead, let's say 7-8 years down the line became EVP, and now he's targeting the next role. Yeah. What type of qualities, what type of business understanding, what type of other factors are required for this journey?
Yeah, I think one has to start living at 3 or 4 different levels at the same time in 3 or 4 different zones, personalities. One is, obviously you have to deliver in your KRAs, right? Whatever profession you are in, you have a zone, you have KPIs, KRAs, OKRs, whatever we call now, you have to deliver there. But if you remain constrained only to that, you will only grow in that vertical. Whereas the apex leadership is all about horizontal. Yes. So if you do not try to get out of that spend time, take effort, and try to know more about horizontals, which means if you're in operations, when will you know about design? When will you know about marketing? When will you know about how sales happen? How a CFO decides which deal to approve, which deal not to approve, why. Same deal, your CFO possibly 6 months back did not approve, and a very same deal he approves now towards end of a quarter, end of a year. Why? So if you don't understand these things, you are not going towards the horizontal, the apex. So while you have to deliver very, very strongly in your KPIs, your KRIs over and over again, you also have to understand that you have to spend time, you have to invest in trying to know about how other functions and their function heads think, right? Marketing कैसे चलता है, marketing head कैसे सोचता है, what are his considerations, and be very positive, because when you are dealing with your stakeholders, you will often have different viewpoints because you come from a different view, different portfolio. And let's say अगर आप head of sales हो और अगर आपका CFO से कोई conflict है, तो don't take it personal, don't get into emotion. Many times what happens, people get into personalities, they get into emotion. That's where your progress stops. Look at the issue, look at the solution, forget the people, wipe out the faces, wipe out the names, because उसी में खो जाते हैं फिर. I start liking you or I start not liking you, and that's the end of the journey. Look at what you are saying, why you are saying, what cognizance I need to take of that. How can I make yes out of no from you? Right? And then I have to learn how to wear your shoes. And to wear your shoes, I have to remove my shoes first. मेरा जूता पहने हुए मैं आपका जूता नहीं पहन सकता हूँ. So I have to be able to understand, think like all those hats, caps. That is how you grow, right? And then an ardent positivity, an ardent growth mindset. There is no end to anything. There is nothing wrong. There is nothing bad. Even a demolition is a start of reconstruction, right? So life will never be pleasant. You will have a lot of things which will upset you, which are not according to your plan, which will put you back. But just restart. That's it. Period. Simple. Restart from there.
Okay. I'm just so glad I'm getting so much context at such young age, and I think this is going to be helpful, because there have been incidents even where I had to, take a step back, connecting the dots. I mean, a relative episode that I had when, in terms of my career, I spent around 3-4 years in corporate, did my MBA, and after MBA, I joined KPMG. And KPMG mein, I was completely new to the domain, consultant domain. And that example is still revolving in my head, where you said, talking about sword of Shivaji Maharaj and Rana Pratap, cutting apples with their sword. I felt heavily underutilized, and being, gaining this expertise to some extent through financial certifications and number of exams, cracking CAT, going to IIM Lucknow. And then you arrive at a job where, as a consultant, you have to read reports, copy paste.
You find underutilized, heavily underutilized.
Underutilized. So I was in a dilemma where what to do. And that time I also took this leap of faith where, okay, let me be cross-functional first. And even though my whole domain, my whole career journey has been in finance, I started learning marketing. After learning marketing, I went on to content creation. Content creation led me to freelancing gigs with some of the biggest startups in India. I would have never imagined.
Brilliant.
But my dot of finance connected with marketing, then coming to content creation, and then...
And look at, yeah. Correct.
And then I reached a level where, okay, I have enough money, even though, I mean, I am day zero placement, I had a good number coming in, but my freelancing income outperformed my salary. And that day I decided, okay, let me put down my papers.
Right.
And... well, just felt very connected to that story.
Correct. And you see, another thing is, there is absolutely nothing goes waste, total waste in life. Only thing is it the utilization? When do you conclude you're wasting your time? You can't give up is a very good thing. But when do you decide that it's never going to happen? If I'm going to break my head on a rock thinking that I'll break it, it's not going to happen. So there has to be a point where you understand, no, this is not working out. And I don't call it quitting. You realign, you reorient. You decide that, no, either I will not change the goal, you have to change the means, you have to change the path. Or you have to think, do I need to change the goal? And fair enough, change the goal. If you think it's not going to work, are you going to waste your life just chasing a goal that you know that is not going to be achieved? Change the goal, right? So that alignment, realignment, being able to stay flexible. And today, you know what? In this world where the change is so fast, your ability to being adaptable is far more important than anything else. Your talent is less important. Your experience is less important. In fact, experience, people who are not able to recalibrate their experience continuously will realize that their experience is a burden than an asset, because your experience is in the environment which is completely out of place. So सुनील गावस्कर को आप अगर आज आईपीएल में खेलने के लिए आउट, आई मीन इज देयर अ डाउट दैट सुनील गावस्कर वाज अ ग्रेट प्लेयर? नो. बट can you imagine he playing IPL? No, because the environment has changed. So that is how it is.
Yes. Now this brings us to the last phase of our podcast. Now we have explored your overall journey towards becoming a senior manager. Beyond this, at the age of 58, we have a new venture starting.
Correct.
I am personally very keen to know more about this venture from two aspects. One, what led you in terms of motivation to keep going on? Because I'm really surprised, because I look at my career, I'm like, okay, maybe 10 years I'll stretch it, and then I want to maybe enjoy.
Correct.
And second, as someone who's learner of businesses, I want to know more about how you're running in or getting into the advisory world, how you are extending, and what are your future plans.
Sure. So this was purely a change of game for me. It was not about slowing down, not about starting to sit on sofa watching Netflix, eating popcorns, not at all. I wanted to start a new game at a different altitude, because I believe the experience, the knowledge, the network, the exposure that I've got by virtue of these 37 years, my time is to pay back to the life, to my domain with gratitude. And there's wealth that has come inside me. And honestly, this domain where I'm one of the very few today who have so much experience in the upcoming futuristic world of AI, data centers, digital infra, right? So there is so much to give, and this world needs so much. If you really look at the news that you get, the developments those are happening, they are so contradicting, they are so confusing. How do you help people take right decisions? So I actually wanted to take it upon me, increase my value play in the whole 360-degree value chain of AI infrastructure, and see that how am I being able to be of benefit to as many more people, as many more organizations as possible. So for me, it is no more about what I get. It is more about what I give, what I have to give. And that's my fun. So you said you want to early retire and have fun. I'm having fun. So I'm doing the same thing. I have started this inning to have fun. Only thing is, in what I will get fun is different. So working 18-20 hours at the moment is giving me fun.
Okay, that's amazing. I wish to have, the level of motivation you have. And coming to second part, the world of advisory. There are a lot of students who reach out to me saying that, Aditya, I have expertise now over 10 years, 15 years. I have expertise in making project reports. If someone needs, let's say, financing to be done, I can make those documentation. On another end, someone is expertise in FP&A. Let's say there's a business, and from financial end, how they should manage their spends, how they should forecast their revenue, what should be resource allocation in terms of growth. But now they want to step out of their role, and they themselves want to start as an advisor.
Right.
What advice from your end would be there to them who are starting off?
If you want to be an advisor, there are two ways I think you can do advising. One is where you can take up assignments where you will become active. In line, you will drive certain things as an advisor where you are active.
Yes.
Second is you step back and you say that I'm not getting involved, but I'll tell you what to do, how to do, how to realign, right? So two ways. You can be an active advisor, you can be a passive advisor, you can be doing both at the same time for different people, different organizations. Second thing is, if you are aspiring to be an advisor, ask yourself a question. If you are one of the potential client, why will they hire you for advice? Do you really have something unique? Do you have something that they will value? It's not about you. In any business, in anything in life, it's all about you and others, not about me. The minute you think, I want this, you will not get it. The minute I say that I will help you get something, and in that process I want to get this, you will get it. So whether it is business, in business, what do you? Customer first. Means it's you, it's others. So we always have to think, what is in it for others? What is in it for them? Why will they hire me? What do they see in me? What is a benefit, right? If you say, I want to be an advisor because I want this life, because I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I want better life, I want better position. This is all about what you want. What are you here to offer, and what is the perception of the other side? Do they really see value in you? Do they want you? So create your catalog in your mind. Create your leaflet कि ये मेरे पास ऑफर करने के लिए है. अगर वो leaflet sellable है तो people will come. Many times I have seen advisor बनना है लेकिन pitch नहीं है ना, value offer नहीं है. So first you have to build your portfolio. You have to create a differentiator. What value proposition? I mean, is there a compelling thing why people have to come to you? Create that first. And that doesn't happen easily. You have to burn midnight oil, you have to bend backwards, you have to drop sweat, then it comes. So build that and then just put it up, people will come. So अगर आपने यहाँ पे शक्कर डाली तो ants will come. You don't have to search for them. If you have sugar, ants will come. So create something and leave it there and then attract people.
This goes back to, in our class we usually discuss 5 forces of Porter, but 2 additional forces. One is a differentiator and second is high ROI. Either be a differentiator or have price which is so attractive that
Absolutely.
you are better than the competition. Correct. You will sail through.
But honestly, if it is only better price, it's a limited time game. You will create a red ocean very soon. Because if it is only price, then very soon others will catch up. Then there will be somebody who will match, who will come closer to you. And then you are going to be a fish in red ocean. So always look at value and differentiator if you are willing to look at the long game.
Wow, that was a power-packed podcast. Thank you so much for sharing so many insights.
Thank you so much.
I think our viewers gonna love it. If you're someone who's still watching, I'm sure you must have loved the conversation. Before you move ahead, please do press the thumbs up button. If you're new to the channel, do subscribe. As usual, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you very
once
much.
again.
Thank you.